Well, hello everyone, and now welcome to a game KraV versus Leon. This game taking place here on Springtime 1.3. KraV spawning as the blue undead player on the bottom right-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Leon spawning as the yellow human on the top left. For all of you guys out there, if it's your first time here and you have not subscribed, or if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. I highly doubt you came across this WarCraft 3 game just because YouTube algorithms thought, hey, this guy likes watching semi-pro and pro players talked about by Crota. Anyways, if you guys not your first time visit, please consider subscribing. It helps YouTube metrics. It helps recommend me to other people in the community as I continue to, well, stay afloat in 2023. Anyways, let's go ahead and break things down in this 1v1 matchup. Human versus undead, Leon versus KraV, as this game is now getting underway. We are going to be looking at an Archmage. No big surprises there coming in from the human player. Meanwhile, undead waiting, and it will be a Crypt Lord. KraV going with that go wide strategy with undead being able to summon up a lot of beetles. Now, I'm not sure what exactly changed about Undead during the latest patch that would have more players gravitate more towards that classic Death Knight playstyle, but it is still interesting to see that we are looking at a Crypt Lord first. Crypt Lord being able to summon up those beetles and then go wide and perhaps try to clear out a creep camp is pretty impressive overall. We can see that there is an easy creep camp right here. There's also another easy creep camp right in front of the base. Plenty of corpses to try and generate those beetles and, well, use for those skeletal minions. Archmage is already out on the battlefield, going to be summoning up a water elemental and now making its way after this Null Warden creep camp. I believe so. No, actually completely ignoring it, summoning the water elemental and now making its way over to the Sasquatch. What this does is it, well, lowers the cooldown on the Archmage's water elemental as it tanks a little bit of that damage, can drop a second water elemental to try and clear this creep camp out a little bit faster while having a little bit more mana, since the Archmage, well, regenerated more mana throughout the match. What you are supposed to do, though, there is have your water elemental auto attack, say, the Archmage, just once so it loses aggro, thereby being able to stay around in the fight a little bit longer. We can see Manual of Health being left behind by that Archmage. Not quite sure why he would leave that behind, but it's just something pro players do. Meanwhile, back down on the south side here, we see KraV, well, also doing an expansion undead style, placing down that Blight, summoning up a Ziggurat, and will be upgrading that to a Nerubian Tower. Once more, I did mention that this is part of that go wide strategy. Plenty of ghouls, skeletal minions here out on the battlefield as we're looking at Gauntlets of Ogre Strength +3 being picked up. Another quick thing to note, that Scroll of Town Portal, that first Scroll of Town Portal that comes with your first hero was sold in order to make a little bit of room. Interesting thing to note, I don't know if you guys remember this, back in the old days of WarCraft 3, your second hero that you trained up also came with a Scroll of Town Portal. All heroes had a Scroll of Town Portal in their inventory. And with that Scroll of Town Portal being 350 gold, it just seemed to make perfect sense to always have and train up a second hero, thereby limiting one hero play. Coming back around, we are looking at Militia now making their rounds here, going after the ghouls. Arcane Tower is nearly taken down here. No repair is going to be possible as the ghouls are going to take down that Arcane Tower and now retreat away. Beautiful tactic there. Meanwhile, the Archmage going to try and put in pressure, but notices that there is a Nerubian Tower in position doing a little bit of poke back. This Nerubian Tower, well, going to try and hold off any additional units. Crypt Lord could try and summon up more beetles. Surprising that the beetles are not being summoned up a little bit more aggressively here, as we're now looking at this creep camp, well, about to get cleared out. Spearman going to fall. That means that the Archmage only needs a little bit more experience to try and get to level 3, as the Archmage, well, somehow dodges a multi-units around, only to quickly get impaled, forcing a Scroll of Town Portal. Archmage now looking to perhaps finish off or, well, heal up back at home Crypt Lords getting closer to level 3 here. As we can see, ghouls are engaging against the peasants off to the north. That one footman going to try and take down this ghoul here. I believe the ghoul will just end up getting taken down by the archmage with that long distance attack, as this ghoul may be able to get off another shot there. Oh, a little bit of separation from the water elemental, getting a little bit of distance, and Leon comes back out on top. There is still a manual of health there. Archmage still opting to not read it, just leaving books. Nope, gonna go ahead and head back, pick up that manual of health, and make its rounds out. Meanwhile, the Crypt Lord will get to level 3 off of this creep camp here. Forest Troll Berserker will end up getting taken down. Level 2 beetles quickly being summoned up. I believe that's what the Crypt Lord was waiting for. Level 2 beetles, in order to start summoning them, as those level 2 variety are significantly stronger, and if they last forever, well, might as well make the most of it. Nerubian Tower and Footman putting pressure in on this haunted gold mine here. KraV trying to retreat back. Tech to tier 2 has started, so any acolytes lost here will end up being, well, permanently lost until they are retrained either by this necropolis or the halls of the dead, both of which need to complete first before training can begin, obviously. All right, a little bit more damage adding on there. Footman trying to retreat back out. No Nerubian Tower here. May actually be a very smart call to build a Nerubian Tower a little bit away from your necropolis here. If you're able to get a little bit of separation, if units try to retreat by your front door, they'll actually be slowed significantly by this Nerubian Tower, and perhaps you'll then be able to pick off more of those units in the early stages of the game. 4 out of 5 acolytes are going to be making their way back over, as Ghoul is now looking to retreat back off to the north. Well, off to the north here, we see full saturation on the gold mine here, and Leon also taking the tier 2 nearly 2/3 or 3/4 of the way there. Both sides running up on one single hero, both at level 3, but KraV winning slightly in that category. Now, as we transition into the mid-game here, we're looking at, well, the second hero choices coming in from both of these players and their possible tech choices. I am expecting perhaps, well, Graveyard is here, so I am expecting Crypt Fiends and Obsidian statues. I would be quite surprised if it was anything except for that. Meanwhile, well, Human has a number of options. He can try to go for Rifleman and eventually into Flying Machines and Knights by going into Castle, but he may not necessarily need to do that since we don't see any Death Knight Lich combination on the table just quite yet. We don't know what KraV's long-term gameplay is, and therefore we don't know what Leon should really be trying to build at this point in stage. Archmage is sitting at level 3. Goblin Shredder now being sent all the way back. There's a crystal ball as well, as that crystal ball will bring to light what is going on inside of those spaces. Tech to tier 3 has already started. No sign of a secondary hero coming in from Undead. Meanwhile, it will be a Mountain King coming in from Leon. All right. Tracker about to get finished off here. Crypt Lord getting a little bit of bonus experience since it is a solo hero. No, I take it back. Death Knight now in the queue. Not going to get that bonus experience, but will be well on its way to level 5 before that Death Knight even sets foot here in the springtime. All right, a little bit more damage getting racked up here. Rod of Necromancy charge finally used. A free item slot if needed, if necessary, as we're looking at unit after unit slowly falling here. And look at this. Everything here is a summoned unit except for that Crypt Lord, allowing that Crypt Lord to, well, keep ghouls back at home and do a bit more harvest gathering, or harvesting and gathering. Yeah. 538 lumber right there. Death Knight out on the battlefield, perhaps going to try and pick up some items. We should be looking at a Lich as that third hero, as the Crypt Lord now looks to retreat back. Mountain King also looking to get off a Stormbolt, but without Boots of Speed, will not be able to close in that distance fast enough. Archmage is sitting at 625 hit points with a potion of greater healing. That will definitely help him out. Meanwhile, in the center portion of the map here, Mountain King looking to get to level 2. Archmage joining in on the battle here, and this could be a little bit of a problem. Crypt Lord trying to retreat back here. We see a little bit of heals. There's a Stormbolt going down onto the Crypt Lord. Crypt Lord could easily use that potion of lesser invulnerability. There's a quick impale, Staff of Teleportation, and the Mountain King, well, that Stormbolt was already on cooldown, unable to stop that there. Meanwhile, Mountain King could pick up what is that alt item, Belt of Giant Strength +3, gonna be on that Archmage, pushing the Archmage up to 775 hit points. Meanwhile, Crypt Lord clearing out the mercenary camp with the help of the Death Knight. Death Knight with the Ring of Regeneration, gonna really replenish a lot of those hit points passively, hopefully keeping the mana on the Obsidian statue a little bit more topped off. Death Knight does need to get to level 2 for that faster movement speed, as we know how important movement is in combat. Sentry wards picked up as well. Level 2 pretty much on the dot, as we are going into that third hero, and it will be that Lich. Both sides sitting up on 2 bases, but Archmage, Mountain King, Footman have plans to try and take down this haunted gold mine. Footmen do not have defend here. Meanwhile, Goblin Zeppelin could unload more targets. Not quite sure why it isn't doing that. Finally unloading there. Oh, the web preventing that unloading, as we're still seeing more engagement here. Scroll of Town Portal outbound. Looks as though the Acolyte will get finished off, and plenty of Acolytes while trying to train back over and resaturate this gold mine. 4 out of 5 Acolytes here with the ghouls perhaps need to back away. Why aren't these Acolytes making their way over? Not quite sure. It looks like they're supposed to be counted on. Finally now, fully saturated. Coming back together. Lich out on the battlefield does have that Orb of Corruption, as it's going to be joining in on the fight here. Meanwhile, we are looking at the Crypt Lord just shy of level 5, also having Robe of Magi. I wouldn't be surprised if these items are actually transferred to the Lich, giving in a little bit more auto attack damage and more bullets in the gun, so to speak, for those Frost Novas. Frost Nova is an expensive ability, but very, very powerful. And once that Lich gets to level 3, level 2 Death Coil, level 2 Frost Nova could make short work of at least those footmen before we transition fully into Spellbreakers. Both sides are sitting in low upkeep, as we're looking at more creeping getting underway here. Forest Troll, High Priest, Death Coil for the save on a ghoul. No upgrades on undead ghouls, but the Crypt Fiends do have 2-0 upgrades, going up against 1-1 upgrades of those footmen and of those Spellbreakers. Paladin, third and final hero. We do not see the Orb of Fire on Leon's Archmage, so healing will be its full effective self overall. Meanwhile, coming back across here, we're looking at the Crypt Lord attempting to take down the Barracks. Barracks down to 300 hit points, down to 200 hit points. Is it going to end up falling before the Knight comes out? Yes, it does. No Knight coming into play. There's a quick impale, as well as ghouls are continuing to fight back and forth. Death Knight continuing to battle it up. It is level 3 Impale over level 3 Beetles, as we are now looking at Roar being thrown down as well. Arcane Tower, he needs to back away from that Arcane Tower, needs all of the mana it can get. There's a Thunderclap. We do see the Paladin actually with Cloak of Shadows able to stay alive. Does also have Devotion Aura, but Devotion Aura does not work out all that well when your Paladin is in fact shadow melding. I believe while you are shadow melding, the Devotion Aura actually comes to an end here, as both sides are engaging. Staff of Sanctuary on the Mountain King, regenerating hit points, but he's going to be out of commission for a while. Lich gets up to level 2. More Impale is getting underway. More damage. Mountain King could be in trouble. I believe there was the Dispel Magic on the Mountain King to break that Sanctuary, Staff of Sanctuary buff, but with that Sanctuary buff removed, it wasn't healing any longer. All right, still coming back around. Level 5 on the Crypt Lord. Level 3 on the Death Knight. Level 2 on that Lich. More battles, more damage coming back across here. Are we going to see a Frost Nova onto that Paladin? Paladin down to 591 hit points. Potion of Greater Healing used right there. Potion of Invulnerability used there. Death Knight needs to find a Death Coil onto that Crypt Lord. Crypt Lord actually dangerously low on hit points, as the units are still fighting their way through. 60 supply compared to 62. The heroes are trying to just hide in the back, staying alive, as the Crypt Lord and the Death Knight still engaging here. There goes another Crypt Fiend, and Leon gonna be able to hold off this attack fairly easily, as we see another Staff of Sanctuary charge saving a Spellbreaker. 2-1 upgrades there, as 2-2 upgrades could be coming in around the corner. Meanwhile, Flying Machines looking to engage, perhaps shoot down some of these destroyers, as Web is now being brought down as well. All right, poor Sorceress able to slip away back off to the north. More damage still racking up. Crypt Fiend still looking to back again, as the Crypt Lord, Death Knight, Lich do not have much mana or hit points and are really overstaying their usefulness as they're taking some serious damage and putting themselves in an unnecessary risk. KraV could easily try and retreat back here. Does he think he's trading efficiently, though? That might be the case, especially with the barracks down and no sign of any knights whatsoever. All right, new barracks trying to be placed down. That front line missing is a grave problem as we're looking at the Spellbreaker taking and absorbing far too much damage before getting cleaned up again. Flying Machine about to get taken down. Lich still slowly gaining more and more experience as the Mountain King now back out onto the battlefield. Death Knight, Stormbolt, this could be a problem. Scroll of Town Portal not going to get transferred over as the Crypt Lord now forces the Scroll of Town Portal in order to end this engagement. All right, transforming into a destroyer at the last possible moment to avoid all of that ranged ground damage, able to stick around, head up into the air, and also deny a bit of experience. 65 supply compared to 68. Meanwhile, off to the north here, Magnetar Reaver, Giant Polar Bear, doing some creeping, trying to clear out some difficult creep camps. Paladin sitting at level 2, could get to level 3, as we're looking at some big damage across the board. All right, Magnetar Reaver down to 300 hit points there. It is magic immune, hence it's not taking that much feedback, or I believe level 8 is magic immune, therefore not taking any of that feedback damage from those Spellbreakers. More Staff of Sanctuary. Giant Polar Bear could easily be cleaned up. Mass Spellbreakers coming in. There's an Impale trying to go after the Mountain King again. Mountain King, it looks like it will get taken down. Death Knight could have a problem as well. Death Knight down to 110 hit points. Able to stick around as it uses a Potion of Invulnerability. Scroll of Healing also used as well. Death Knight still trying to lead in the charge. Could actually find himself in a very tough spot there as more damage is still racking up. All right, Lich turning to fight back around here. Death Knight ends up falling at level 3 as the Spellbreakers are still fighting their way through all of these Crypt Fiends. Some Spellbreakers are getting taken down as well as the Archmage still lobbing some of those attacks. No Orb of Fire anywhere to be found, but then again, healing has already been drastically reduced. Archmage could try and take down some of these destroyers here. 3-0 upgrades. Lich gets the Scroll of Town Portal transferred as the Crypt Lord is now down to 23 hit points, ends up surviving. Holy Light was still on cooldown, and well, that's the end of that there. 3-0 upgrades for those Crypt Fiends, 2-2 upgrades for Human. A slight advantage for Human overall as the units now making their way back off to the north. Meanwhile, main gold mines have about 2.5 minutes left here of mining. Expansions still not in danger of running out of gold as of yet. A little bit more or less around 10 minutes, depending on which army you're looking at. All right. Sounds like that was a rejuvenation of some sort. Didn't quite hear. No rejuvenation. Archmage seeing that level 5. Crypt Fiend trying to dance away. Doubles backs around into the Knight. Will easily get taken down. Archmage sitting at level 5 now. Meanwhile, we're looking at the Death Knight and the Crypt Lord continuing to clear out difficult creep camps. Crypt Lord really has no point in being in this fight, as it's just taking and denying experience from that Lich and that Death Knight. Meanwhile, back off to the north, we're looking at, well, all of the creep camps on the map have been cleared up. Mountain King, Stormbolt straight up onto the Lich. Are we going to see some Death Coil onto that Lich for the save? Yes, there is that 400 hit point save. Units are looking to retreat back. Mountain King is going to be able to Stormbolt. One Crypt Fiend gets taken down as there is that tactical retreat back once more. Beetle still trying to swarm here. And, well, there's a quick burrow right there. Are we looking at Arcane Sentry? No, just that... just that inner fire priest upgrade, the mastery training on that upgrade now. Mountain King with a weaker form of the Archmage's Brilliance Aura should sell that item, get some perhaps some scrolls of healing, potions of lesser invulnerability, and trying to win the fight with those powerful consumable items, getting more mileage out of your heroes. Coming back around, KraV sitting at 67 supply compared to Leon's 78. A significant supply advantage once again for Leon, who has, 9 supply more So what, a 15% a larger army, as we are looking at 2-3 upgrades coming up against 3 or 03 and 01 upgrades. I believe that's 03. No, 3-1 upgrades. All right, so the one's Carapace and one's attack. So yep, should have recognized that. Level 3 level 3 attack upgrades, level 1 Carapace upgrades. As we're still getting more units out here on the map ready to go. All right, where are they going to be trying to travel to next? Trying to take that center expansion here on Springtime. Odd number of expansions does make for a natural point of interest on the map, as if you allow your opponent to mine from that gold mine, you better believe in being able to trade efficiently when going in an uphill battle. All right, more fights getting underway here. There goes another arcane tower. 26 more seconds left of mining inside the main base, as Leon's castle now suffering quite a bit of damage. All right, units trying to retreat all the way back here. Archmage sitting at level 5. Paladin sitting at level 3. Mountain King sitting at level 3 as well, as the main infrastructure buildings of Leon are starting to fall. But even with that said, you can see magic, heroic, and piercing damage not really taking down these buildings. One destroyer already gone. A second destroyer could get taken down. There's the Scroll of Town Portal. Are we going to see the death of a destroyer here? Death of another destroyer, as it ends up teleporting away, but not before significant losses by KraV. Death Knight down to 231 hit points. Units all on all sides trying to regroup and regather themselves. KraV sitting at 400 hit point or 400 gold off of 2 bases, compared to Leon's 300 hit point off of 1. Hero levels also very much neck and neck. Crypt Lord's ultimate ability, that Locust Swarm, can deal quite a large amount of damage. Meanwhile, Archmage's utility in mass teleportation is rather scary as well, unless the Crypt Lord is able to get an impale off on that Archmage to disrupt it. All right, little bit of damage on this tower here. Tower quickly going to get taken down. Flying machines do not have the bomb upgrades. 0-3 upgrades going to try and finish things off. Meanwhile, undead armies slowly lining up and getting into position. As these ziggurats are getting taken down, here we go. They are going to be falling down relatively quickly, as the ghouls are trying to flank in and perhaps cause a bit of problems. Knight with Inner Fire going to try to dive on in. Nope, there you have it. Nice, a couple of webs here. Webs now bringing down those flying machines. Flying machines, however, are still going after those destroyers, trying to rack up more damage with that piercing flak cannon AoE damage across all these destroyers here. Destroyer down to dead, and that's pretty much going to be it for destroyers. The flying machines have nothing else to really target, as Staff of Sanctuary saves another unit. Paladin could be in some serious trouble, down to 97 hit points, down to dead here. He gets bursted down in no time flat. Meanwhile, Mountain King still trying to find a way to be useful overall. Mountain King, I'm going to see a Thunderclap. No, there goes an Impale, and Leon trying to get in with a low hit or a medium hit point, medium level Mountain King, try to get off a Thunderclap, ends up getting stunned and denied. All right, I believe writing is already on the wall. Leon has quite a lot of ground to make up if he wants to get in this game. KraV has taken down both heroes, as we now see another Impale there. All right, Archmage could be in trouble. Are we going to see a Potion of Invulnerability? Yes, we are. Do we have a Resurrection on? No, we do not. So the actual army size of Leon is still significantly larger. We don't see any Ultra of Storms actually resurrecting the Paladin, and not resurrecting the Mountain King as of yet. There goes another unit once more. Flying Machine, is it going to give any additional experience? No, it is not. There's another web here, taking down all of these units easy as pie for these Crypt Fiends, magic damage, Obsidian statues, and heroes. 34 supply compared to 44. KraV no longer mining off this base here, so both sides sitting on one base. 2,600 gold compared to 2,000. Who's going to run out of gold first, and who's going to make the first mistake overall, or the mistake that causes the game? Lich, down to the south here. Robe of Magi, Orb of Corruption, only 2 items. Meanwhile, the Crypt Lord has 2 potions of mana, perhaps to try and use an Impale or that Locust Swarm to start out a fight. Is KraV going to have enough of an army, or is Leon going to take it with that larger 44 supply army? Look at this. He only has 5 workers. Everything else, there's no other workers anywhere. That's allowing him to have a 49 supply army, even though he's at 54 supply. All right, Altar of Kings about to get shut down here. Sorceress trying to train up additional things. Goblin Shredder still wandering around here. Could easily end up getting taken down, down to 135 hit points, trying to retreat back. All right, coming back around here. Well, Lich, Crypt Fiend trying to fight their way through. Crypt Lord, Death Knight, Lich trying to hang back here as Leon is now down to this, well, his an expansion, which now looks more like the starting base than his starting base does. Dual Arcane Sanctums now trying to research up that adept training for those sorceresses to open up perhaps invisibility. 644 going up against 643. Lich does have Dark Ritual, so should be able to, well, machine gun out a lot of units, or a lot, as we are looking at level 2 beetles who may be Dark Ritualed into additional mana. Meanwhile, we're looking at Flying Machines holding steady across here. Spellbreakers, Knights trying to dive on in against KraV's expansion. And here we go. Spellbreakers instead changing their targets onto Ziggurats instead. All right, is the Crypt Lord going to be able to find this target of, well, of all of these casters in the back here? Meanwhile, Flying Machines do not have the bomb upgrade. There goes a Stormbolt onto the Lich, and here we are into a fight. There goes a big Impale, but does hit the Archmage, but not the rest of the army. Both sides fighting it through. 48 supply compared to 58, 53 supply army compared to 41. Units are still retreating back. 1 Obsidian Statue going to be lost as the Archmage does go to level 6 and opted to train for level 3 Brilliance Aura and level 3 Water Elementals. KraV still trying to test the waters here. Does have Locust Swarm. I don't believe he's used it as of yet. And Locust Swarm does eat away at a fair number of hit points, but the Necropolis of KraV now under duress again. Leon still sitting at 64 supply over 66 compared to 43 over 80, as KraV is now low on lumber. Coming on through. All right, Stormbolt onto the Crypt Lord. Crypt Lord needs to, well, be able to fight this. There's a Thunderclap slowing things down again. There's an Impale to try and move past all of these units as we see a Potion of Healing used there. Death Knight has a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability, is going to use it. Meanwhile, Crypt Lord still has plenty of mana, could use that mana and then try and go after, but KraV ends up getting surrounded, losing a level 6 Crypt Lord, and now only the Death Knight and the Lich is here, and that is going to be the game. All right, Leon actually winning out in that fight there as the Crypt Lord was taken down. Just surrounded. Perhaps Spike Carapace would have been a strong upgrade, but no retraining. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it.